Hello and welcome to another edition of DX Engineering Videos. We're here today with a very special guest. It's Scott Robbins, W4PA. Hi, Scott.
Tim, good to be here.
Welcome to Talmadge, Ohio, the home of DX Engineering. And Scott, you know, some of us have seen you at your business and also as a bass player in the rock and roll band, the Spurious Emissions, but not many of our viewers know how you got started. How did it start for you?
My dad's a ham.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
What's his call sign?
W2DR.
DR.
Yeah.
And how long has he been licensed?
1971.
1971. So you got licensed in 1982.
Right.
And so how old were you?
12.
You were 12, yeah. Okay. And so, but you grew up watching your dad.
Yeah, from when I was very little, there was always a stack of Hallicrafters and Drake gear that was on a table next to the washer and dryer in the laundry room, because that was the only spot in our little house he had for it, and there were antennas in the yard, and he would get on the air and copy CW, and as time went by, it started to get to me that, gee, I really would like to learn how to copy the code. So I asked my dad when I was about 10, hey, will you teach me how to learn code? And it just mushroomed from there. I got a license, and then we were buying better equipment, and there was more antennas, and one thing just led to another, and it's been a hobby that I've enjoyed my entire life now.
So he really had the dream situation where you had a father-son thing that was really intense because you gravitated to this.
Yeah, he didn't have to talk me into it. He would never said, hey kid, you should get a ham license. None of that happened. It was all, gee dad, I want to copy Morse code, and then one thing led to another, like why is this antenna this long? I mean, what are we doing here?
Right.
So, and of course he would do, as an active CW DXer, was very much, he thought this was great. So we spent all of my junior high school and high school years in the radio room. Essentially, we were building antennas, we were chasing DX, we were, my dad, who was an active ham anyway, became even more fired up about it. All of a sudden, it was like, I got to make the CW honor roll. Then it was, I'm going to be the field day chairman for the local club, and we're going to put up a thought.
Right.
It was like, okay, just.
And you were saying, yeah, let's do it, Dad.
Right. So it just seemed real natural to me. I thought it was a great hobby. I still do.
And so as you progressed along now, you move out of the house and you start to build your own station.
Yeah, I was out of the house. I came to the Southeast to go to college and was operating out of apartments, etc. As I was saying before, I had ended up living in Atlanta working for HRO, and then I was living in Tennessee working for Tentec, and all of a sudden it was, geez, I need a contest station. So in 1999, myself and a partner, K3LR, pooled our resources, started acquiring used tower, anything we could salvage. We would get wind of anybody within about a 4-hour drive of Knoxville who needed a tower taken down or antenna work. We would say that we'll do it for free, but we get to keep the stuff. So what ended up happening was, we had hundreds of feet worth of tower. We had a gigantic pile of aluminum, and Jeff, being a very mechanically inclined guy, always felt that, hey, we could buy an antenna, but we could probably build something real nice too, so let's just start pulling pieces of aluminum off the pile, and one thing led to another, and the last decade I had a 13 Yagi 4-tower contest station that lasted clear up till 2007.
That's pretty cool. And you did it on a shoestring budget.
We put up a 4-tower, 13 Yagi station for $5,000.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty.
That's a value deal. Boy, that's amazing. And during the period of the contest station, what kind of radio equipment were you using?
Well, at the time, I was the sales manager for Tentec. So I evolved from using the Tentec Omni 6 Plus to the Orions and the Orion 2 and the whole line. Today, of course, I'm many years past Tentec. I still have a Tentec transceiver I'm using, but I've got all kinds of stuff now. I've got multiple Yaesu and ICOM radios. I've got an Hallicraft, kind of one of everything, really.
That's very cool. Now, you've also developed a little affinity for going down south and out of the country. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I started going on contest expeditions in 2002. I went to Curacao to PJ2T for the first time, and I kind of got the bug, and I've been now to Bonaire, which is PJ4, which is one island east of Curacao, repeatedly over the years. And in 2006, I started leaving equipment there. I left a transceiver one year, Went down there again, left an antenna. And we had, 10 years ago, I'd made the acquaintance of a couple of the local hams down there, one being PJ4NX. And Peter, very graciously, he had just moved to the island himself, said, "Oh, I'll keep your radio for you, and we'll keep the antenna, and you'll come back." And that has led now to having a big pile of equipment stored on the island that Peter is very nicely kept in storage for me. And I go down there a couple times a year, we set it all up, run a contest, it's field day style. I mean, we're not going to win, but we have a great time. We put all the equipment together, antennas up. That's a great experience.
So I know you're a busy guy. You're running your own business, sort of living that dream. But do you have any equipment at home? Are you doing anything from your home station?
Kind of. At home, I'm an apartment dweller. I live in a downtown industrial building that was converted over to residential use, so I don't have any antennas at home. But at the Vibroplex office, which is about a mile away from where I live, we've got a couple of multi-band dipoles. I've got a 5-band vertical in the backyard. We've got 5 HF radios at the moment at Vibroplex on the table, and if I can name them, let's see. ICOM 765, ICOM 7300, Yaesu FT900, Yaesu FTDX 1200, and an Elecraft K2. And a bunch of accessories, of course, to go with it, the keys, everything else. And I'm on the air a reasonably good amount of time. I'd say a couple of days a week I probably have got the radio on, principally on CW, and we'll be able to get on the air.
So the same magic that occurred with you and your dad getting on the air back when you were 12 and in high school, do you feel that when you're on the air, even with the wires today?
Yeah, I do. And actually the thing that I feel the most interest gets me the most is, I'll give you an example of this. I had the ICOM 7300 turned on in the last few days on 40-meter sideband. And I can be listening to static, and I see these signals going by on the waterfall, and you've got the whole 40-meter band there on the scope, and you can just turn the knob up to this signal, and there it is. Or they stop transmitting, and there's no signal anymore. I mean, that was just 20 years ago. Are you kidding?
Right.
They had those Kenwood pan adapters for the old Kenwood radios, and you can kind of see the band, but it was just sort of
fuzzy,
like rudimentary,
right.
And if the band was busy, of course, what you saw was.
Right.
You couldn't see any signal.
Right.
But even when the band is busy, you can pick this out. I get such a huge kick out of that because that just wasn't something that you used to be able to do. And I know hams today, that some of the newer guys, that's just what was there.
That's right.
I mean, that's the way it's always been. But I
Right.
get a huge kick out of that.
Yeah. No, starting in 1982 and going this far, you've seen a lot of evolution.
Oh yeah.
And you've been a part of it.
Yeah.
Through the jobs that you have and the company that you have now.
Yeah.
So, I think with your passion, this is just the middle of the road.
Oh,
You're
great.
still going strong.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always got such a huge kick out of ham radio. I mean, I gravitated toward it when I was young, and I never lost interest. I mean, I've always I'm a traditionalist. I mean, I'm a CW operator. I do get on sideband occasionally. I'm not active on the digital modes much at all. I have operated PSK 31 and JT 65, but I can still get a huge kick out of turning on the radio, tuning down the band. I hear a CW signal from halfway across the earth. Just nothing. I mean, it's just air. It's great. I'm never going to get tired of that.
That's great. Well, Scott, thanks very much for coming in today and sharing your ham radio story with our viewers. And we thank you for watching another edition of DX Engineering Videos.